Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Month of the Full Moon here on Reaction and Review. Tonight, guys, I'm checking out a film from 1994. That movie is Trancers 5, Sudden Death. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, when I started this month, and I knew full well I was going to do all 5 of these Trancers movies, I had high hopes. Because the last time I sat down and covered this large a property from Full Moon is when I dedicated an entire month to the Puppet Master films. And I wound up loving most of those. I thought maybe, considering the fact that this thing has gone 6 movies, 5 of which are right here, that I could have gotten something great. Instead, we get the first movie, which was okay. The second movie is so riddled with plot holes it gave me a fucking headache. The third film at least tries to explain a whole lot of the issues with the previous films, as long as you're willing to cobble up a fan theory about it. You know, but those were fine. Then along came Trancers 4, the fantasy film that poses as a Trancers flick, where instead of Trancers being, zombies who are either created by psychic force or drugs or, steroids, instead now they are energy vampires. Because fuck you, that's why. Trancers 5 is a continuation of that. And, I have very, very little faith in this movie, but there is still that silver lining. I'm hoping that since Trancers 4 was able to try to set the world here and was trying to tell us all of the new rules for these Trancers and exactly what Deth has to do and all this other stupid shit, I'm hoping that since the 4th film set all of that up, it's going to give the 5th film a whole lot of room to run. And if it can, this movie could very, very well be awesome. Otherwise, this movie is going to be a smoking turd, and I'm probably never going to look for Trancers 6. But the only way I'm going to find out if this thing is any good at all is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Trancers 5, Sudden Death. You guys happen to remember in my review of Trancers 4, I mentioned that the acting was terrible? Somehow between Trancers 4 and Trancers 5, that acting has gotten worse. It shouldn't have gotten worse. They filmed these 2 movies at the exact same fucking time. You would at least have expected the acting to have stayed the same, to have stayed the same level of shit from one film to the next. But no! Somehow between 4 and 5, every single one of these talent-challenged wastes of skin forgot how to act. This is painful, guys. You know, guys, when I had all of that optimism going into this, that this movie was going to build off of what was in Trancers 4 and hopefully be something good? No. Hell no. This movie, guys, is boring as shit. And I commented earlier about how the acting has gotten worse. Yeah, that's across everybody. This guy's the first time I've ever seen where Tim Thomerson isn't even fucking trying. The man who can, the man whose epic level of cheesiness can make almost anything work isn't even trying. His scenes are almost as painful to watch as every other person's scenes in these movies. Or rather, in this movie, and it's getting bad, guys. The movie is about half done. I can't wait for it to fucking end. Well, now I know what Deth would have looked like if he were turned into a Trancer and given almost no makeup to show that he's been turned into a Trancer, because fuck actually showing that these people are Trancers, fuck them actually being Trancers. Yeah, guys, it's Deth fighting an evil tranced version of himself, and honestly, it sounds kind of stupid, and it's executed in a way that makes it even stupider. This is really, really kind of shit, guys. Well, guys, that was Trancers 5, Sudden Death, and that ending was complete shit. Oh, boy. Okay. So, You know, I really had a plan, guys, when I started watching this movie. I noticed that the opening credits are literally just the opening credits from Trancers 4, unaltered, save for changing 4 to 5 and Jack of Swords to Sudden Death. It's the exact same opening title sequence. I am talking, it is the same font, it is the same names, in the same order, with the same music playing in the background. They literally took the credit sequence from Trancers 4 and just dumped it wholesale here. When I saw that, I was really tempted to take my entire review segment of the Trancers 4 video and just dump it in here without fucking explaining a thing and hoping that people would notice that I'm wearing a different shirt in that one. However, the one thing which stopped that from happening is I was going to do that if this movie was as bad as Trancers 4. It's not. And I was hoping for it to be better than Trancers 4. Yeah, it's not that either. This fucker's worse. Okay? I don't even know how that's possible. When the script was written by the same guy, we had the same crew, filmed in the same location, shot at the same goddamn time, how the fuck is 5 worse? And guys, it's everything. Everything. The acting has gotten worse. The acting sucked in 4. It's terrible here. In 4, Tim fucking Thomerson looked like he did not want to be there. By the time we get to 5, he not only looks like he doesn't want to be there, he sounds like he doesn't want to be there. Tim Thomerson has given up in Trancers 5. I never thought that would be possible. I have seen Tim Thomerson in some god-awful movies, but I've never seen him just give up while working on a movie. Behold the one time that Tim Thomerson gave the fuck up. Trancers 5. He absolutely phones it in, and it's terrible. It is the worst performance Tim Thomerson has ever given in his entire professional career. That's saying a lot. Now, considering the fact that the rest of the cast was complete shit in 4, the fact that they got worse in 5 is nothing short of mind-boggling. I didn't even think that would be possible. The writing this film is still, this one, similar to Trancers 4, is written by legendary comic book writer Peter David. The problem is, just like 4, it doesn't feel like a Trancers film. However, it feels as if when they were working on 4, Peter David was finally cued in that his script was Frankensteined into a Trancers flick and had about half the pages ripped out. So he had time to take the script for 5 and shoehorn in a hell of a lot more references to Jack's past and Angel City and the shit that's happened in the previous films. So at least it feels a hair more like a proper Trancers film. However, that is just tacking on a couple of extra references which you could easily cut out. It basically is the same shit they did for Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome to fucking justify calling it a Mad Max movie. In that film, it didn't feel like a Mad Max movie at all. It could have been any fucking character on Earth in that fucking spot, except the writers slipped in, calling him Max like 3 times in order to justify calling it a Mad Max movie. This thing kinda sorta does the same thing. We get maybe 3-4 references to Jack's past and hunting Trancers and all this other shit, and about how he can sense Trancers, even though the Trancers here are vastly different from the Trancers that Jack spent his whole lifetime hunting. But honestly, we are not going to question that, because that would make this whole fucking wreck even worse. You know, so Peter David had the opportunity to slip in a couple of those references, but once more, it seems as if somebody took the script, which probably had a lot of Peter David's like trademark character depth and story and everything that Peter David knows how to fucking write, and they took a fucking Thresher to it and ripped all of the interesting shit out, and we were left with a dull, boring, tedious waste of film that goes nowhere. We have a story where Jack, Deth, and Prospero, who was the energy vampire slash trancer that joined the fucking resistance against the nobles, who also are trancers, let's just be straight with that, the two of them are going to some castle of infinite madness, or whatever the fuck the stupid name was that was given to the castle. Swear to God, the castle had a really dumb fucking name. In order to find a diamond, no, I am not mispronouncing that, a diamond that Jack can use to travel back to his dimension, because the person who wields the diamond becomes a master of time and space. And Prospero's dad, who was dead in the first film but is able to come back because apparently wizards don't fucking die, because fuck you, that's why, also wants the diamond because he wants to be a master of time and space and rule over all fucking dimensions and let his nobles feast on all of the meat they can possibly get their hands on. I always found it kind of funny that they actually call their targets meat, but they don't actually feast on the meat. They just suck the energy out of them. That, never mind. I am not going to ponder on that longer than I fucking have to, because that's just going to make this whole thing worse. So it's this big fight for this gigantic plastic thing that's supposed to pass itself off as a gem. And the ending. Oh dear, fuck the ending. I'm going to spoil the ending. So for those of you who are heavily invested in the Trancers series and you haven't gotten up to 5 yet, you might want to mute this for about the next 45 seconds. You have been warned. So Jack takes the diamond, he shoots it with his little laser pistol thingy, and sends both him and Prospero into Jack's time, and somehow magically Prospero is no longer a trancer and wants to stay in this realm because reasons. And Jack has a fresh start with Lyra, who he's been madly in love with because he met up with Lyra's alternate fucking dimension equivalent in Trancers 4 and fell in love with her, and it's like and like the love carried from one Lyra to the other for reasons. Mind you, none of that gets cashed in Trancers 6. I actually looked up the plot of Trancers 6. Do you guys happen to remember that theory I had about the daughter we saw in Trancers 3, who may or may not have been Jack's daughter? Yeah, it's totally Jack's daughter, and so Jack's gonna time jump into her body in Trancers 6. No, I have no intention of watching that now after watching this goddamn thing, and honestly, after watching the previous four films, of which only 1 and 3 were even worth watching, I have no intent of ever going back. So anyway, writing here was a complete and total disaster, and I'm not going to blame it on the writer, because I know that the writer can do better. Our acting here is absolutely ghoulishly bad. Holy shit. Special effects. Once more, special effects have gotten worse from 4 to 5. In 4, they actually took some level of effort to show when one of our trancers is trancing and has to feed on his meat in order to survive. And there was actually effort in putting some kind of fucking like forehead fucking ridge thing there to show that they're trancing. Here there's almost none of that. So when we get to the moment in the castle where Jack has to fight a tranced version of himself in order to get his hands on the diamond, there's almost no effort put into the makeup, and instead of it making Jack Deth look like he's trancing, it just makes Jack Deth look like he's about twice as old as he is in the fucking movie. It is incredibly bad, and that fight scene was awful because they didn't bother to do any kind of they made no effort to do any kind of composite shot where you have Thomerson here as Jack, Thomerson here as tranced Jack, and they talk. No. It is the ultra cheap, double here, Thomerson here, either with or without makeup, and the camera going over the shoulder, and it just jumps back and forth between Jack and tranced Jack, and the camera being over the other's shoulder. It's really cheap. It's really shit. It's one of those things that you could totally shoot at home without any fucking effort at all. Special effects here, guys. Honest to God, it all really boils down to makeup effects. And when our trancers are trancing, it's shit. And there really is nothing else here in terms of special effects outside of like that one moment when this wall rips open and we see this dark void. That looked okay. Lightning effects were okay for like the 2 shots we saw them. Blood effects, what little are here, are kind of sort of competently done, and the lighting effects when trancers are feeding on their meat, at least that's okay. But still, all of it was done better in Trancers 4. How the fuck do you get worse in this shit, guy? The movie came out in the same goddamn year, too! Both Trancers 4 and Trancers 5 came out in 1994. They were both shot at the same time. How the fuck does one wind up worse than the other when you were making them both at the same fucking time? I do not understand that. Anyway, music here is basically the same fucking shit we heard in Trancers 4, and it sucked then. It kind of sucks now. Our sound mix. You guys have no idea how many times I was watching this thing, and you could hear the sound cut. I am not talking about cut on my disc. I'm talking, you will hear one actor talking, and their line is cut off on the absolute last syllable. And we then hear audio from a different source, probably from a different take, and the background noise is different. It stands out. That happens so frequently in this film that I have to mention it here, and it's going to irritate the shit out of you because it really annoyed the fuck out of me. And if it really annoys the fuck out of me, I guarantee it is going to irritate at least somebody. I honestly have a habit of noticing all of that kind of shit. God damn, is there any positive to this? Well, yes, now that the movie's done, I don't have to watch any more Trancers films! Yay! Unless somebody really, really wants me to do Trancers 6. You guys are gonna have to pay a fuckload, though, if you want me to do Trancers 6. I'm not touching that goddamn movie. Oh my god, this thing was by far the worst in the entire franchise. Trancers 5 Sudden Death is by far the worst entry in the series. Everything that was good about the first film has been stripped the fuck away. What few things were kind of interesting in 4 have been stripped away. And I have to mention again, they made them at the same time and they released them the same year. So that is nothing short of shocking. Am I able to recommend Trancers 5? Fuck no. The only way I could possibly recommend this smoking turd is if you like Trancers 4. If you liked Trancers 4 for some ungodly reason, and you absolutely want to have more of that story set in that world, have at it. You can totally get another hour and 12 minutes of shit out of it. And frankly, if you like Trancers 4, you're probably going to like Trancers 5. If you didn't like Trancers 4, why the fuck are you wasting time with Trancers 5? It's more of the goddamn same. No, guys, I cannot recommend Trancers 5 at all. Ever. Period. End of discussion. Now, Trancers 5, as well as the other 4 movies in this box set, all came off the Amazon wishlist. The person who sent them in was a YouTuber by the name of the Expatriate 700. Please, guys, swing on over to his YouTube channel. That is youtube.com/user/the Expatriate 700. Check out everything he has over there. Dude, thank you. I was really curious about these. I had the highest of hopes going in, and out of 5 movies, well, the first one and the third one were at least decent. I mean, at least there's that, and if I really had to whittle it down, only the first one's really, watchable, and even that one gets kind of kneecapped because of all the little logic holes involving how time travel was done. But frankly, I wouldn't have known any of that, dude. I would not have known any of that, and I wouldn't have had a reason to do another month of the full moon without you sending in this set. And for that, I thank you. You fucking rule, dude. Once more, that is youtube.com/user/the Expatriate 700. Oh my god, this movie was terrible. I need to watch something else. Let me scan my Blu-ray shelf for Robot Jocks. I'm gonna go watch Robot Jocks because it's been probably about a decade since I last saw that movie, and I remember that thing being fucking amazing. And frankly, anything at this point is more interesting than even contemplating watching another Trancers film at this point. So anyway, guys, with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.